Hello and welcome to this week's edition of BOI Weekly. I'm Olayemi Odunuga. On the program this week, we feature the story of ASI UKPO Diagnostics and Medicals Limited. The company was established in 2003 to engage in comprehensive diagnostics and medical services readily accessible to Nigerians. ASI UKPO is also the owner of ASI UKPO Hospital, a multi-specialty hospital which started operations in 2013, as well as ASI UKPO Comprehensive Cancer Center, a state-of-the-art facility built with the aim of addressing the challenges faced by cancer patients in raising funds for treatment abroad. Both are located at 4 Mary Slessor Avenue, Calabar, in Cross River State. The hospital is equipped to provide detailed diagnostics and comprehensive treatment with state-of-the-art facilities. ASI UKPO Diagnostics and Medicals Limited takes pride in the provision of quality and affordable healthcare to all persons. Welcome to the program. Welcome back. Now we showcase how the company is providing quality healthcare delivery through professionalism, dedication, and commitment.
Welcome to the premises of ASI UKPO Diagnostics and Medicals Limited. This calm and serene ambience is what patients and visitors encounter upon their visit. Established in 2013 to make comprehensive diagnostics and medical services readily available and easily accessible to Nigerians, ASI UKPO is the owner and operator of ASI UKPO Hospital, a multi-specialist hospital, and also ASI UKPO Comprehensive Cancer Center, both of which are located at number 4 Mary Slessor Avenue, Calabar, Cross River State. The hospital is equipped to provide detailed diagnostics and comprehensive treatment with the state-of-the-art facilities including MRI, multi-slice computed tomography scan, digital X-ray, digital mammography, 3D, 4D Doppler ultrasound, echocardiography, ECG, dialysis, blood bank, and a delivery suite. First, we speak to the Chief Operating Officer of the hospital. She walks us through how the journey started.
I'm sure you must be aware, our late chairman was himself a cancer survivor and had lost siblings to cancer. So it had always been a dream of his to do something to bridge that care gap in that oncology space. So that's it. We are now reaching towards becoming a real center of excellence as far as oncology is concerned. You've been around, you've seen what has been achieved here. Even before we entered into the partnership with Bank of Industry, you don't use small change to buy a CT, you don't use small change to buy an MRI or a digital X-ray or any of the lab equipment that we have. Everything costs money and costs a lot of money. So we had to reach out to Bank of Industry as a development bank to fund acquisition of various assets for the oncology center. Through the Bank of Industry partnership, we were able to acquire the linear accelerator, we were able to acquire the brachytherapy machine, we were able to acquire the CT simulator, we were able to complete the oncology wing of the building. So without that partnership, I know for sure we wouldn't have come this far. I was talking to my brother a few years ago, and he's involved in some medical things as well. I don't want to go into details of that. And he says, look, Rosemary, that hospital, you guys are really, really brave, because he knows, and I know, that hospital business is almost a charity. You have to have the passion for it. You must be passionate about providing service. You must be passionate about excellence. And the thing is, no matter how passionate you are, if you cannot fund that dream, then the passion is just empty passion. Passion alone, without funding, would not acquire a linear accelerator. Passion alone, without funding, wouldn't be able to help us bring on board the quality, the caliber of staff that we have here. So funding is really, really critical to achieving any dream of excellence in the medical field. It takes time. It takes time to grow a medical business. Anybody who is running a hospital and is in it purely for profit, well, good luck to the person. Passion drives it, excellence sustains it, and then the gains will come. Our CEO is an Indian. Yeah, he could as well have been a Ghanaian, or he could as well have come from any other parts of Africa or of the world. He just happens to be an Indian. When you talk about reversing medical tourism, I think, if we're going to be honest and realistic about it, it's still a little, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We first of all need to establish our local practice. Establish local practice. Make sure that you're out there in the public eye and the public knows exactly what you're doing, exactly what your capabilities are. And then you can start to treat those people who obviously cannot afford to go abroad. By the time you start treating the ones who, for whatever reason, have chosen or have been compelled to stay put in order to obtain treatment, and you get good records, you get good reports, you get good results, then from there you can move on and start talking of reversing medical tourism. But as I said, let's not run before we can walk. Baby steps, yeah, baby steps.
In addition to the numerous services offered by the hospital, it boasts of being able to carry out over 3,500 investigations with top-of-the-range bidirectional and largely automated equipment covering biochemistry, immunology, flow cytometry, histopathology, hematology and microbiology, on-site and through partnership with advanced pathology laboratories across the globe. The idea is to bridge the gap in the healthcare industry, especially as it relates to cancer treatment. Operating such a big institution requires funding.
Our fully automated operating couch. You can do this to bring it down. You press, if you want it to slide to the other way, you go left or right. If you want the head lifted up or the couch, the patient to come up to the level the doctor will fully reach, you do that. We also have our anesthetic trolley, where the anesthetist does all the combinations of drugs he wants and gives to the patient. And this is our fully equipped anesthetic machine, where he gives all types of gases while the operation is going on, and he monitors with this machine. This is the patient monitor.
Some years ago, the Bank of Industry supported the hospital through the provision of a loan facility to help achieve their mandate.
I would say that we need a lot more investment in the sector. The perception is one of a lack of expertise, a lack of equipment. A lot of people, if they have the means, if they are ill, they tend to travel overseas to get really good health care. This is really sad because it means that what is left behind for a lot of people is not adequate. And even as we say that, we also do not have enough capacity in the country. For example, with cancer care, which we just started our cancer center as well, we're doing radiotherapy. There are less than 10 places in the country right now that are doing radiotherapy, and even out of that 10, not a lot of them are actually working. So this is to show you that there's a massive gap there. So if I was to talk about opportunities in this space, there's a huge opportunity to fill this gap, whether that is in primary healthcare or in more specialized kind of healthcare, whether we're talking about cardiology or oncology or whatever you may find. So I think that there's a lot of room for both government and private sector to be able to come into it, because I personally am really interested in the average person being able to afford healthcare as well. And this is where the government is able to synergize and bring some value as well. Because there's no way we could have done what we're doing right now with the Cancer Center if it wasn't for the backup industry. If we were dependent on, let's say, commercial banks, the interest rates are too high to allow this kind of projects to be able to get off the ground. So that's a huge thing. I think access to finance is a very big deal, because the only other option is to fund it out of pocket. And the number of people who can do that kind of thing is very small, obviously. So we may have the ideas, we may have the expertise, we may even have a lot of the infrastructure on ground, but without access to finance is a huge problem. So I think the BOI is very, 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 very important to be able to access this sector in a tangible way. I remember when my dad first had the idea for doing this, we first talked about it in 2014, and then we finally now approached the bank, because initially we were trying to figure out how this could be funded. We had looked at our own personal finances as a company, and we were thinking, okay, we can't reach what we want to be able to do. So we went to the Bank of Industry. We were referred to them by a consultant who was helping us put together the business plan. And honestly, to be really fair, I think our relationship has been quite nice. Bank of Industry has not given us any problems. We tend to hear all these horror stories about how you engage with the Nigerian parastatal, But honestly, I don't think I can have any complaints about this. They were very, apart from the fact that they really looked at our business plan and they were really thinking about it like, okay, how can we make impact in the health sector? So after that initial conversation, but of course, the Bank of Industry doesn't run accounts, so we had to now partner with a private sector bank, a commercial bank, to be able to process that facility. So that brought its own set of constraints, because obviously the private sector has its own drives and needs for their own banking business. But at the end of the day, we got access to the loan, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the bank was very understanding with us when we asked for a moratorium on the payment of the loan. During COVID, especially, there was a really big issue of obviously getting in equipment on time and all that, because supply chains having problems. So the project was delayed. But the BOI understood this, and like I said, they extended even a moratorium. It wasn't even just the original moratorium. And we didn't have to jump through a lot of hoops. We didn't have to fill out a lot of paperwork. It was a very straightforward kind of relationship with the bank. So I'm not saying this just because you're here and I'm on camera. I can definitely say this with my full chest anywhere, that our relationship has been very strangely, very, very smooth. Let me put it that way. I don't think it can be overstated. It is incredibly important. Just to give you an example, both on the patient side and on the medical expert side, we had a patient come in, with cancer, and she had just come in from Abuja, and their machine there was not working, so she ended up coming to our side and everything. We were able to get rid of the tumor, and that impact of being able to affect someone's livelihood, right? She's a mother. It was her brother who ended up paying for everything. But the point is that this is a human life that may not have been there in a couple of years or in a couple of months, who knows, right? But we were able to affect that because of the machinery that we had on the ground. And she came in from Abuja. She had never come to Calabar before. It was her first time there. She came in specifically for treatment. And this is somebody that I'm sure her brother could have taken her overseas. But he, now there was an option locally, so she spent less money. I'll give you another example. I won't mention any names, but there's a person I know, and he had to go to Dubai for kidney cancer-related issues. And he's been there for 2 years. He's been, paying accommodation, having to struggle to get forex. We all know what it is between the naira and the dollar nowadays. So he's been undergoing a lot of pressure, the mental pressure of just having the cancer, and then the pressure of financing his healthcare. And then he's away from home. He's away from his family, he's away from familiar environment, he's away from familiar food, and all these things are part of the healing process, to be honest. So imagine a situation now, once I put up something on my Instagram about the center, he immediately messaged me. I was like, oh, can you guys do this? Can you guys do that? So such a thing will make such an incredible impact on him. But then on the professional side, in terms of medical practitioners, a lot of the doctors and radiographers and oncologists and physicists that we have never worked with the kind of machinery that we have in the center. the linear accelerator, which is what we use for the radiotherapy, the machine we use, is one of the most sophisticated, bleeding edge, state-of-the-art machine for Electa. So in a way, we're like a showcase location for them. And they've never worked with that kind of a machine before. There's a lot of, let me not go into the technical details of what the machine can do. But now all of a sudden they can train on such a machine. It's no longer just theoretical. We have now, we've engaged a new collaboration with the teaching hospital in Calabar about them being able to send their oncologists to us to be able to learn and train on these machines. And now all of a sudden these people can now learn in real time, as opposed to going to let's say an oncology center and you don't have access to that kind of machine. So the only live practice you have is chemotherapy, which is not a bad thing. I mean, we still need chemotherapy. But the point is that there are a lot of skilled doctors that have come into contact with in the number of years we've been running this hospital. And you can see that there's so many people who have a lot of passion, a lot of technical knowledge, and highly intelligent, but they don't have the tools to work with. And so eventually they get frustrated and they leave. And I was discussing with my mother recently, because we were talking about this brain drain, people, a lot of people traveling over to Saudi Arabia and so on. The Saudis are not stupid. They're not hiring doctors who don't know anything. These doctors know things, but they leave. And while the impression is always that, oh, it's about money. That's why they're going. And how do we, in the private sector, compete with how much the Saudi Arabian hospital can pay a doctor? I disagree. While money is very important, obviously, and you need to be comfortable, you need to be able to pay for your family's needs and your needs. I think fulfillment is really the most important thing for a lot of doctors. I've seen doctors, we have a hospital in Abuja, in northern Cross River State, which is in a more rural area, and there are doctors who are there. The doctors who are working in these places, and they are putting in a lot of effort. So you can see that to be a doctor is not just about the money. It's a proper, passionate thing. You want to help people. We came in to work with BOI. We had about maybe 70 staff members in the hospital that we had, that diagnostics and everything. And now we're looking closer to 90. We've hired, and we're still about to hire more, because we're supposed to hire one more oncologist, a few more oncology nurses, and so on and so forth. So that has been a big impact in terms of the staff strength. But then also in terms of people that we've hired, we have a lot of, like for instance, our medical physicist, one of them came in from Abuja. And he's coming and he's now working on this machine that he didn't have access to working on, being able to do training, because they had to get trained on the systems and so on. And these are people who are now getting a lot of, again, like I said, this is the kind of thing you can't really measure because it's a huge amount of impact. One of the things I'm quite happy about is that we have 2 young Cross-Riverians, who are also physicists who are working in the center. And every day, whenever we have conversations, you can see that they're very grateful to be able to be exposed to this really top-of-the-line system. And it also provides hope, for our staff, our people. The new building we have, the new equipment we have has completely affected our revenue even. And we've only been open since March, when we got our license to operate. So between March and April, we've already seen a very tangible, let me not talk figures here, but we've already seen a very tangible increase in our revenue. So this is something that we know is going to continue increasing, because we're nowhere near where we know we can get to with the number of patients that we're expecting. But from March to April, there was almost, maybe I'll say 300% increase in number of patients just in the cancer center alone, and I know that that's going to continue going up. Maybe not at that pace, but at least it's definitely going to continue.
Our relationship with Bank of Industry started long time ago, about 15 years ago, when General Opo, the late General Opo, who happens to be the chairman of TSI, actually passed away last year, September 6th. He's someone that have passion for a lot of things, which healthcare is one of them. He happens to be a cancer survivor, and he has 2 of his siblings that we lost due to cancer. When he came back from abroad, he came in and he said, okay, he wants to go into oncology cancer services, and we started with the feasibility studies and getting our papers right. By the time we did everything, we were able to get some banks to sponsor the oncology projects. Unfortunately, we could not get any funding from any of the banks. Some of them will not have belief that a private individual can go into such a project. At the same time, most of the bankers don't even understand what oncology means. So they actually turn us back down until we were introduced to Bank of Industry. And we happen to meet the healthcare and the petrochemical group who really understand our mission. They came to Calabar to see the diagnosis center where we are. They saw what we are doing and they really appreciate everything. Getting back to Lagos, we were able to put out all the papers and we were able to get approval. And we got offer letter for Bank of Industry. So that is where our relation started.
The Cancer Center is staffed with a multidisciplinary team of specialists, including radiation and clinical oncologists, surgeons for super specialty surgical procedures, radiologists, medical physicists, radiotherapists, radiographers, pathologists, medical laboratory scientists, dietitians, physiotherapists, and specialized nursing personnel, physical therapists, and other support staff, all working to provide the best care for our patients.
So that was a time when probably the journal had in mind that after the diagnostic center he would have a cancer hospital also. Okay, and we kept in touch, and then when the cancer hospital was about to start the commission, then we had a discussion, and then that's how I came over from India to Nigeria. A little of my background, I've been working with different multi-speciality hospitals in India, and the last one that I worked also had a 50-bedded cancer unit inside the main campus. It was a 400-bedded hospital. So probably I and the journal, we discussed how to bring the expertise and the good practices of what we do in India in the hospital, so that the same standard operating procedures, the protocol, the best practices can be brought to this center. So that's how I'm here. Because there is the thing we have the thing in mind, how to reverse the medical tourism. A small statistic says that around 150,000 Nigerians, they get affected by cancer every year, and the mortality rate is very high because the cancer is detected at a very late stage, advanced stage. Okay. As you said, so and we have hardly 4 or 5 hospitals or centers who have a full comprehensive treatment for cancer therapy. There is not a single center in the entire south central and southeast of Nigeria which can boast of a center like us. So we are very confident that this center will not only cater to all the people in Nigeria in general, but particularly all the people in south, southeast, south central, all the people who require cancer treatment. And all the people who have now been going out of Nigeria because the lack of treatment, the lack of centers, will now be definitely find this easy access to all the latest technology, the precision medicine, for which they travel out to India, to South Africa, to Egypt, to other places also.
The ASI UKPO Comprehensive Cancer Center is a leading private cancer center in Nigeria and West Africa, utilizing equipment from top manufacturers across the world to deliver precise and conformal therapy for cancer patients. The cancer center diagnoses and treats a wide range of cancers using the latest techniques and technologies for radiotherapy, chemotherapy and surgery, all in one location, thus increasing clinical confidence and defining new standards of cancer care. AUCCC, which commenced operations in 2022, is the first of its kind in the south and southeast regions of Nigeria, and was established to fill the huge medical infrastructural gap in cancer care in the country, where there are less than 20 functional linear accelerators for a population of over 200 million people. AUCCC is also involved in training and research, helping to grow the number of skilled practicing oncologists and the body of radiation oncology knowledge available in the country.
How many hospitals in Colorado?
Over the years, the Bank of Industry has continued to provide interventions for industries to thrive, and these interventions are making meaningful impact on the nation's socio-economic development. So as an entrepreneur in need of support to grow your business, kindly visit any of the branches of the bank closest to you or log on to the website at boi.ng. You can also follow the bank on all social media platforms as displayed on your screen. And that's all we have for you on this week's edition of BOI Weekly. I'm Olayemi Odunuga. Thanks for watching.